Here at BET, we started a new initiative. It's called What's at Stake, where we talk about the issues that matter to you. And we don't talk to you, we talk with you. In fact, today I have a roundtable of people who are going to talk about the issues that matter to them the most. I have a young man who had to start a crowdsourcing campaign on the internet just to pay for college. So we're going to talk about how to deal with that and how to fix it. We're about to get started right now. One of the big issues that people are talking about right now is education. Young people are having a problem accessing financial aid and getting into college. What's going on?
Well, first of all, funding is a challenge across the board on so many different levels. And I think, as you said, access is an issue. A lot of young people do not necessarily know what their options are.
One of those challenges is financial aid. I mean, in 2011, I know you all know, credit reports began to be used to determine whether or not people can get financial aid. A whole bunch of folk don't have good credit, which makes it harder to go to college. I mean, Corey, you're going through it right now, right?
Well, essentially, I was just going through a regular day at school, going into the cafeteria as I always do every day. I know the lunch ladies saying what's up to them. I slide my card and then they say, your balance is, you don't have a meal plan. And I went to the financial aid office and they told me my account had been dropped. And it was shocking to me because I hadn't heard anything about this. I did all the paperwork. I filled out my FAFSA. My mom filled out the paperwork for a Parent Plus loan. Because of a change in ruling, we did not get approved for the Parent Plus loan.
Well, one thing I know for certain is that Corey's story is the story of 28,000 other students at our HBCUs across this country, all of whom were not able to receive funding to go to college. And it's a crisis that we're faced with, and we have to find a way to fill in that gap and to fix it. And I know that there are elected officials on both sides of the aisle who are looking at solutions to address that problem.
Well, some of those solutions, I hope, are changing these financial regulations. I mean, Elle, does it make sense to you that you should have to have good credit to get an education?
No, it doesn't. And quite frankly, the cost of education is so high. I remember myself, if it hadn't been for my mom, she created a relationship with this woman at the Bursar's office. She would send her flowers and all these things. But straight up, when it came time to register for classes, if it wasn't for that relationship my mom personally created, I would be in your exact position. It's crazy. You leave school with all this debt, and then you can't even get a job on top of that.
Right, debt that I currently have.
If you look at the studies, HBCU pride is higher than most other schools. We love our schools, we rep our schools, we wear our colors, we argue about whose school is better, more than anybody else.
Right.
And we give less than the average.
Yeah.
So we love it more, we support it less. But from a structural level, from a government level, we also have to begin to invest in this, right? Is it a government priority, Elle, you think, to support HBCUs, or should it be?
Absolutely. I mean, education is something that should be available to anyone from whatever class, whatever race, wherever you come from, you should have the same. This is the American dream, opportunities, right?
Yeah, but one of the biggest groups of people that are being affected by financial aid issues are the HBCUs. You go to Howard. It's not Morehouse, but it's close. How have you seen the HBCU climate change in the last few years?
Well, I know a lot of my friends have left as well. I was just fortunate to come back because of the campaign that I did to get back to school.
What kind of campaign did you do?
Well, it's a crowdsourcing campaign. So basically, I use social media, which I'm very talented at. I feel like I'm very talented at.
That's okay. It's okay. You got back in. You must be.
Correct. I have a pretty strong following on all my social media, and so me and my friend came up with the idea: if I could ask everybody that follows me for $4, I could essentially get back to school. My first donation was actually a Howard student, and it touches my heart to know that another student who might be struggling with their money would think enough of me and my education to give me some money.
And that's amazing, right? I mean, the idea that you could raise money to pay for college is great, but Orlando, you shouldn't have to start an Indiegogo campaign to go to school.
Well, look, when you're met with challenges, sometimes you have to be innovative and creative. And I applaud exactly what you did, Corey. When our people were faced with challenges in the past with hostility and discrimination, we created these HBCUs and these institutions, and now it's on us to preserve them. Now, how do we do that? I think one of the ways is to vote. Vote for the elected official who's going to support your HBCUs.
I think there's two very important things that I just heard. One, clearly voting is very important, but it also was his determination. So he said, I am going to school no matter what. And what came out of that was something that is very, very important that people gave. we have to give back to the schools that we come out of and schools that we just believe are the right places for our children to go to. We do not use our dollars properly.
Well, let's talk about some solutions about this educational crisis around financial aid in particular and preserving HBCUs.
Well, you can put caps on tuition. You can readjust the formula that qualifies or disqualifies a candidate for student loans.
And what do you say, Tamika? How do we do this?
Well, I say, grassroots organizing. I'm always for that. I think wherever there's a challenge, wherever there's a call for us to get involved, organize, as was said before, ensuring that we're voting for the people who represent our interests.
So people are, and I asked this earlier to some other folk, people have a perspective like you do, like I do, like you do, like you do, but it doesn't seem to me that all sides of the political aisle have the same access to college campuses. For example, if you're on Howard campus and the Republicans come and say, hey, we have a plan for healthcare, we have a plan for financial aid, we have a plan to rescue the HBCU, are students going to listen?
It just depends on how you promote it to them. A lot of times students go to things that are free. Free food, you say, there'll be a DJ there. That's how you get students to come.
Give me there now, then.
But if you don't, and you're just saying, okay, so-and-so's coming to speak on this topic, people are like, okay, maybe I'll come. It's not that it's not accessible, it's that it's not interesting to us, or we feel like it doesn't apply to us yet because we're not in that stage.
A lot of times we go to campuses and tell y'all what matters to you or what should matter to you. Are you all having your voices heard sufficiently?
It just depends on the situation. It depends on how we react to it. I know Howard, we're famous for sit-ins and, marching to the A building.
I was about to say, y'all shut your own campus down.
Oh, yeah, we'll shut down in a second because we want to be heard.
But do you think Howard students, for example, would vote Republican on the whole if the message was persuasive enough?
Yes, if it's persuasive enough.
Here's an interesting statistic. 20% of young black men from the ages of 18 to 30 voted for Mitt Romney in 2012. A large part of that number were voting for the first time. So a large part of that number decided not to vote for the first black president, but rather a Republican. So we're seeing a lot of a shift, so to speak, in terms of young black voters looking at the Republican Party. And all we ask is for people to give us a chance.
Everyone should explore what works for them best.
Yeah.
Be an individual, then be a black individual, then be a woman or a man, but be an individual. Like, it's your life. So listen to this man, listen to you. I think that it should be everyone's choice.
But choice means you vote.
Right? Yes, absolutely.
Right. And it's important that you vote your interest.
Let us know what's at stake for you. Go to BET.com/what's at stake and tweet us at what's at stake.